What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 20th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $88.1 thousand with roughly 8 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Before we really get into the standard stuff, I do want to just say it is Saturday. It is Saturday today. Saturdays are typically very boring days. You know, if we go back in time, I'm not going to make a whole video out of this part here, hopefully. But if we go back in time, I mean, really even to just this consolidation point here, Saturday there, Saturday here, every Saturday, I mean, if you look at these white lines, every single white line is a Saturday. Every Saturday is a very insignificant day. There's no massive movements there. The biggest day that we had for a Saturday, I think, was here. It was like almost 2% to the downside. But it was really a big old nothing burger in the midst of the days that came before it and came after it. So Saturdays are typically boring. I'm not expecting too much out of today. But on that note, what is exciting is that yesterday, Friday, we did close above 1, 2, 3, 4 days of closing price action, effectively wiping out all the deficit from last week, right? Because Monday was the beginning of the week, effectively wiping it all out during the business week. And here we are over the weekend, maybe looking to close this week to the green side. I mean, that's a nice candle right there on the weekly time frame. We've got a lot of wicks to the downside here. I mean, this is starting to really resemble this down here, except instead of lower lows, we're getting higher lows. Right? And what we're doing here, what we've been doing right here, it's not really that common. It's not that typical of what you see in a bear flag breakout, right? A lot of people are anticipating that here. We've broken out of our bear flag, and that means that we're going to go, lower. Whether this is the measure move, that's the measure move, or however far up it is. But typically, whenever you break out of a bear flag, you drop. Maybe you consolidate a little bit, but this kind of consolidation, it makes me think that we might be breaking back up into this pretty soon, right? It's common enough to break out, back test, and then reject, but we haven't done that. We're still crowding this. We've back tested this plenty of times, and we're just crowding it. It makes me think that we're going to come back up here. I want to look at the short-term stuff and see if there's any evidence in the charts that could be a reality, beyond just the fact that we had a bullish engulfing candle that engulfed 2 days ago's price action, and basically the whole week worth of price action brought us from this low point all the way back up to this neutral point by the end of the week. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame, and then we'll zoom out from there. So again, it is Saturday. It is that boring time of the week. We zoom out here, and you can just see it with your eyes, right? Here's a very boring period here. I wonder whenever that happened. Look, there's low volume down here. I wonder what time this is. Friday to Sunday. Oh, who would have guessed? Saturday is a pretty boring day, right? And this is the rest of the week. Here we are. Very, very boring so far. Very low volume as well, right? We haven't had low volume like this since last Saturday. We go back, and you can see here, oh, look, a gap in volume. Boring price action. That was Friday, late Friday to early Sunday. Saturday, fully encompassing this boring price action. We can keep going back in time, and that's basically how it looks the whole time. So what we're going to do today is probably just continue to move sideways. We might move down a little bit, we might move up a little bit, but typically over the weekends, Bitcoin doesn't move more than like 3% to the upside or to the downside from Friday to Sunday. So I don't expect much to happen here. 1 hour time frame, the RSI is neutral right now. You are overall in a bullish posturing, but I don't like the waning of this overbought area. Like you're slowly coming down like this. I don't like that. And now you're rejecting the 60. Makes me think that you want to come down. With this kind of neutral price action, though, man, you don't have to come down by much, and you just keep doing this. You can really cool your RSI off. So while the RSI is set up to be bearish, it's technically bullish right now, but while it's set up to be bearish, I'm not really that intimidated by it because it's the 1 hour time frame and because of the type of price action that we'll probably see between now and early Sunday. It'll likely reset this indicator. The stochastics are at an area to bounce, but you're probably not bouncing here. The MACD is probably useless because we're moving sideways, so it's not going to help us out. 4 hour time frame, we're at the 0. The MACD is just crossed above the 0 with the blue line there, and we're moving sideways. I wouldn't expect, I mean, maybe what we see is a little bit of a pop-up. We get this cross, tomorrow on Sunday, we get a little pop-up, and then Monday comes along and we move down. Because typically what happens is you will get this cross, and then you consolidate after you get the cross. That's typically what happens on the 4 hour time frame with the MACD. Typically, you get the cross above the 0, and then you consolidate. You don't just cross and continue to rally. That does happen, but typically you consolidate. So maybe what we'll do is we'll see the MACD cross, come back to find support at the 0 line, and then continue to rally. And in that consolidation point right there, that would be like Monday or Tuesday, maybe the price starts to consolidate. In other words, guys, for the next couple of days, we're probably not going too far from where we are right now. Daily time frame here, the RSI is abysmal. This is sad. This is a really sad RSI, you guys. Since October 6th, the RSI has been living below the 50. It's just been living down here. You barely get any readings at all above the 50. So it's very, very important that when we do make a move above the 50, and probably this next week we will, it's very important that we don't see a reaction that's like this or like this. Very, very important indeed, because if we see a reaction like that, the probability of going below these lows goes up a lot. You know, we could very well go below that low. Stochastics here look good. I would think that we do continue moving higher. And the MACD, the MACD is interesting. The MACD is interesting. I think a close like this would be really good today. Getting a day here to close where it's like this was a false cross to the downside. Let me show you what I'm thinking here, right? A lot of bullish momentum being built. You had a false red cross, and now you're crossing back up. You had your oscillators touch, and now they're ready to cross back up. That's typically a bullish setup, right? You had a similar kind of scenario here. And that's what sent us to our all-time highs, right? This, we had more red. We had more red, but still, this was somewhat of like a false cross. Really, all we were doing there was finding support at the 0 with these oscillators, finding a little turbulence there, and they continue to rally. You know, here we had a false cross to the upside, right here. Same idea. It's the exact same look on the MACD as what we have here, just reversed, right? And this false cross here, whenever we flipped red, we had a nice move down. It wasn't world-shattering, game-ending, but it was a nice move down. I mean, we literally moved down from the time that we crossed green to back red. We crossed red here. We moved down from a price that was as high as 108K all the way down to 98K. I don't know about you guys, but a 10K move from here sounds nice to me. And that was also in a very short time. This is the daily time frame. This was in like a you know, from the 12th to the 22nd. That was a 10-day time frame. We have 11 days left in this month. We really could, and I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the month we did make a push up to this area here. I was thinking throughout this range here that we'd be pushing up to this area like this, and then once we got here, probably around this time of the week, like right here where we are now, around this time, I would think that Christmas week was going to dump and that we were going to dump into the rest of the year. But because we got this dump out of the way first and we didn't pump first, I'm reversing the order of how I think it's going to be. It's not so common, but I actually think we are potentially going to get a Christmas week rally for Bitcoin and for the rest of crypto. Now, it's not going to be spectacular, it's not going to be fantastic, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if between now and the end of this month, $88,000 right now, we move up a whole nother 10K or so. I don't know if we get above 100K by the end of this year, but we're going to get very close. We're going to brush up against that threshold there. So this is very powerful. This is very, very powerful. That's the main thing. I got a little bit lost on that, but this is very powerful right here. Right? Same thing kind of like right there. This is very, very powerful. If we can close today here or higher, or at least not pull back enough to where this green cross goes away, I think we could even close today a little bit red, but just a neutral day, which Saturdays are pretty neutral days. A neutral day or better will likely give us this green cross, and that likely confirms that we are looking to trend higher. And we do have higher lows, technically. These are all higher lows. We do have higher highs, technically, so we are trending, technically, to the upside. It might make sense that if we have higher lows and higher highs, we just formed a higher low. What comes next? A higher high. I'm just saying. And we compare what we're doing on the MACD to what we did, a couple times, the last couple of iterations, seeing a $10,000 move in the next 10 days or so. It's really not that hard to do. It's something Bitcoin can do. It can absolutely do that, but you got to get started now. You know what I mean? And we'll see. Maybe we just get above this high, and then we find resistance and come down. But I would assume with this quote unquote breakout here, if we were to break back in, we probably do move to the upside at a very nice pace. But we'll see. Looking at the weekly time frame, The weekly indicators are all just completely bearish. The most bearish, in fact, that we've seen throughout the cycle with some indicators, right? Like if we look at the MACD, throughout this cycle since 2023, early 2023, the MACD, the oscillators here have not crossed above, or sorry, below the zero. Here, the oscillators are crossed below the zero. They're deep in there, man. They're deep. Very, very deep. Almost rivaling what we saw at our bear market lows. I mean, to be completely fair, technically, our oscillators here, right here and there, our oscillators are exactly where we were during our bear market lows, right? Here's our bear market lows over here. Our oscillators are right there, literally exactly there. Not only that, the MACD right here is also, the histogram is very, very low. The lowest we've seen all cycle, okay? It's literally like the reverse of what we saw during the bear market, right? Decaying in bearish momentum here, you're building bearish momentum. But do you know what this means, right? Let me show you. You're decaying in bearish momentum here. But what you're getting in the price is lower lows. What's that called? Whenever you get higher lows in the indicator, lower lows in the price, it's bullish divergence. Okay, that's bullish divergence. But now things are different. Things are pretty much the exact opposite. Here, we have higher lows. And yes, this is a higher low. They're all higher lows. While here, having lower lows. So here the price was giving us lower lows, but the indicator is giving higher lows. It's bullish divergence. Now we're getting lower lows. The price is giving us higher lows. That's hidden bullish divergence. And the MACD, you guys, is at some of the, not some of the, it's at the lowest readings on both its oscillator and its histogram that it's seen in years. The histogram hasn't been this low, I mean, by this chart, ever, since ever. Is this the all-time history? It's not loading. It must just not be loading or something. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, we've never actually seen the MACD histogram this low before. I think we're reset. Call me crazy. I think we're reset, man. I think we're ready to go. We've never seen it this low. We've got lower lows. We have higher lows here. That's hidden bullish divergence. That's a good thing. Same thing on the RSI. Lower lows, but higher lows. And not to mention you bounced off the oversold zone, which is a good thing in itself. Stochastics are primed and ready. We're just looking to get, the one thing that we want to see here is that the stochastics close above the oversold zone. I don't think that this in itself is completely detrimental, but it's not a nice look. We don't want the stochastics to look like it's rejecting the oversold zone. We want to look like we're piercing through. Once both oscillators pierce through the oversold area, that's a very bullish signal, you guys. That typically, I mean, whenever that happened last time, you know, we saw some nice growth from April to July there. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. We're at 88.2K now. I don't expect much between today and tomorrow, but I do think that going into the end of this month, we'll push up to this $98,000 to $102,000 level. Maybe we do see 100K or more by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. If not, we're going to get very, very close. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.